Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
We're going to talk to Gina again in a minute, but first of all, Nigel Farage's greatest moment was, of course, the Brexit referendum result. But now, looking at what's been going on in the courts and at Westminster, he is already talking of the great betrayal. You've said this week that you don't any longer trust the independence of the judges. So do you think that when it comes to the Supreme Court, we shouldn't trust the Supreme Court not to be politically biased in this decision? Is that what you're saying?
I'm afraid that the reach of the European Union into the upper echelons of society in this country makes it quite difficult for us to trust the judgments. And I mean, look, if you were on a jury, you would have to say, I have a vested interest in this case, I can't sit on this jury. I'd like the same thing to happen.
But given that all law has involved European law, that would virtually rule out all judges. And I just put it to you that these are professionals whose job is to look at our constitutional law and take a decision on the basis of the law.
That's fine.
It's quite dangerous to call them.
That's fine, but if they've been activists pushing for politically European integration, they shouldn't be making these judgments.
When it comes to those famous newspaper headlines now, enemies of the people, do you deprecate that or do you agree with it?
Oh, well, I completely understand. But look, let's get to what's happening here. We may have seen Bob Geldof and 40,000 people in Parliament Square, moaning about Brexit. Believe you me, if the people in this country think that they're going to be cheated, they're going to be betrayed, then we will see political anger, the likes of which none of us in our lifetimes have ever witnessed in this country. Those newspaper headlines are reflecting that.
There's going to be a real danger of disturbance in the streets and so on if Brexit is thwarted by Parliament.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I mean, I heard you talking to Gina Miller earlier about the nasty things that have been said about her. I mean, believe you me, I've had years of this. I've had years of hate mobs, taxpayer-funded hate mobs, chasing me around Britain. The temperature of this is very, very high. Now, I'm going to say to everybody watching this, who was on the Brexit side, let's try and get even.
Nigel Farage says, believe you me, if the people in this country think they're going to be cheated on the issue of Brexit, they're going to be betrayed, then we will see political anger, the likes of which none of us in our lifetimes have ever witnessed in this country. Does that sound like he's inciting some sort of action on the street?
Demagoguery, totally terrifying demagoguery, encouraged by people like the Daily Mail and the Sun as well.
I certainly wouldn't endorse those remarks as a Leaver, but I think that what he says might become true if, let's suppose, the Supreme Court overturns the High Court's decision, which I think is more likely than not. But if the Supreme Court does that, and Gina Miller then tries to appeal the Supreme Court's decision in the European Court of Justice, and the European Court of Justice then ruled overruling the Supreme Court's decision to overturn the High Court's verdict, then we could have a real constitutional crisis.
Well, funnier if Theresa May has to herself go to the European Court, which she wants to.
Well, that really would be difficult for her, wouldn't it?